Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today is a continuation on from the previous video. This is Java with Ali and I am Ali, and we are continuing on with connecting databases and using prepared statements with JDBC. So I said last week that you could use the Java FXML to make it more of an application. To do that, we simply add the same with using the JDBC connector. So you simply add into Eclipse once you download it from the internet, of course. You have to add into your build configuration. So if you go to databases or wherever your package is, and then go to build path, configure build path, and then your libraries, and you can import. So I can show you where I've stored mine. So libraries being the tab on the top, and then you just when you click on your class path, then you add your external jars or your libraries or whatever that you've connected. As you can see, my MySQL connector is still there. I still have it in the same downloads folder as well, and then my Java FX SDK. Now you need, with the Java FX SDK, it's a software development kit that has pre-written code already in it, the same as what you use for a dictionary. When using a language, it's already pre-written text that you can understand. So using the JDBC, take two, the XML part to make your application, then you need to use the different import packages that are associated with it. There are plenty of address book controllers that are available online. I can show you one which is associated with this actually, that I've written out. So here is it's in a different package that I'm running to today, but I said I'd briefly cover it. So we have our test FXML package, and then we import our Java FX collections, event, and scene. So they are our main part of Java FX, our event and our scene. Then you have alerts and alert types, and that's when things pop up. So if any of you have already done things like Visual Basic, so we were taught Visual Basic as a precursor to Java so that we can understand some object-oriented programming when I was studying. So it kind of made it really easy then to know what is a text field, what is a list view, what are different things already within it. So Java kind of uses a lot of the object-oriented stuff like that. I'm just going to briefly cover a little bit of this. So we still use the same class, our person queries that we used last week. We use a different type of list called an observable list, and with anything web-oriented or application-oriented, there has to be an initialize. So if you're using something like Angular or a front end, or Android also, you have on in it. And so on initialization, and then usually you call whatever methods that you want to call within the initialize. Here you can just see the get all entries and select first entry from person. So it's also using the person class. Then when we go down, we have our button as an action event, and then our alert type. So your alert types are usually the different alert types that are available are the exclamation mark for info and stuff like this, but you can look that up online yourselves. So there's the alert type, information, and error, and your display alert as well. So you pass through your title and content, text, and show and wait. Today, though, we are going to stick with our console because I want to get to the hub of the matter, because JDBC requires a little bit of extra information. I'm going to first go into my MySQL workbench. We didn't cover the insert into last week, so we have our select all with a little star, and then from and whatever table you're using. We already know we're connected to the author's database, so we don't need to worry about that. You're already connected to it. You're just selecting whatever table within the author's database and selecting all or top or any of those. That's our select statement. As I said, databases, it can be covered in a whole other whole other discipline almost, a whole other subject that can be covered in depth. We're just briefly looking at connecting to our database, inserting into today. So we have our select authors at the moment. So I've added a few more entries, as you can see. Hi at hi.com. And we also have our insert into. So we're inserting it into the authors database, and we take every single one of those every single one of those table column names, and we list them out. And then we put in the values. Even if you're not inserting any value into it, it's important to list it out anyway, because it's going to match whatever's in the database. Everything to do with programming is to do with matching and linking. So if you're like me and you had a VTech power pad and you're growing up and all you did was play games of matching and linking, then programming kind of fits in your brain really well. So our keywords are insert into and values, and then we put our values in the correct way in our database. For numbers, they don't need quotation marks. For strings, they do. When we go to Eclipse, you will see a difference in this. Now, so now when we go to person queries, and we spoke a little bit about prepared statements last week, so I'm going to run through this a little bit more in depth this week. So we have our URL, which we can right click on our database and select our copy JDBC string. The only change that we did was add authors here. That's the change, because we're referring to a different specific database name. Again, password, do not use password ABCDEFGH. I'm only doing it for demonstration purposes, but do not use that in industry. Oh my God. I used to work in a place where their password was 1, ABC, 2. No, don't do it. So connection, and then prepared statements, or select all, or select by last name and insert new person. Now last week we didn't talk about insert, so this week we will. This is our insert statement, which I've copied directly from my SQL workbench. And we use here the values, we use question marks as our placeholders. And this is the important part of this video. Placeholders you need as question marks for your string into your prepared statement, into your prepare statement, even as your connection. When we go down to the constructor, then our person queries, we're going to try to connect to our database as a connection. As I said, the driver manager takes into account the JDBC drivers. You need to have those in your build path first, otherwise it won't connect. Our prepare statement, then we pass through our strings just for ease of writing. You can see here our passing through our strings. As is, so you can see the question marks that are being replaced. Then we have our select by last name statement and our insert new author statement. That's what we're focusing on today, our select. Again, we use our catch. It's pretty straightforward. We also use a thing called a result set. So when we execute a query, we've executed the query on our connection on our database, which is here. So our select all is our prepared statement already, and we pass it through to result set. Our result set then is going to be iterated through and added to our results as a list, and then you can see it as our strings or get int or what have you. We're not focusing on get all people, we're focusing on and this is also our overloaded method. As you can see, get all people here and get all people string last name. So we've overloaded the method. If you're unsure about overloaded methods, I've got a video about that as well. So basically it's our methods that are called the same name, but we've got different parameters associated, or different signatures, you can call it as well. Programming, the thing that makes it a little bit confusing for a lot of people is that we use different wording to describe the same thing. So method parameters or the signature of the method can be a similar thing to what you're talking about. So in this instance, we've got get all people, and we're passing through the parameter string last name, and up here there's an empty, there's no parameters being sent. Empty or no parameters also meaning the same thing. Here we have our add person, and this is what we want to focus on today. So we have our int ID, our string first name, last name, address ID, and email. So we have our insert new person, set int, set string, set int, set, and it mirrors exactly what is up here. Where do we go? Oh, sorry. Where do we go to person main? This is where we're going to add the person. So we're going to type in our information that we add. Now you can get an input from the user on our console, or again, as I said, you can use FXML as well. Today we're just going to use a simple hello everybody. Hello everyone out there. Yeah, I'm using a regular keyboard, and in work I use a German keyboard, so my Y's and Z's are always confused when I'm typing. So now if I get people twice, if I call it twice, you can see it come up 2 different times. We haven't looked at the person class yet. We're going to get to that now as well. If I just click on our person class. Our person class is just our regular getters and setters, mutator, everything. Oh, this is a duplicate entry. Because I've already written it. 44 is a duplicate entry. Let me go back to our person main here again. Our person queries even. And here we've got 44. We'll say 55. 555. And save. Again with person, and we have our empty constructor here, and then we have our other constructor for person, and we pass through our address, ID, first name, last name, and email. And again we use our toString so we can see the toString from our object. So in person queries, okay, I'll run it again. When we go back to person queries, where we use person is in our list. So, oh, here we go. Duplicate entry again. Oi, oi, oi. I need to go back to my database and see what's there and what's not. 55 is already used. So why don't we go with 22. We'll go with 22. And 222. And let's run it again. So if we go back up to here, person is used as our list. So once we execute the query, we're going to set our entries as our address, ID, first name, last name, and email through our person, and then output it through our results. So there we go. Out there, hello everyone out there is in it. So that's it for today. We'll move on to a different topic next week. There won't be any video next Sunday. There will be the Sunday afterwards. So there's one break in between. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. Please like, share, and subscribe, and stay safe out there. And yeah, happy programming. Okay, bye.